Hey guys, it's Carly, and today I wanted to share with you 2 easy cards that use the Essentials by Ellen Essential Triangles because these shapes might be basic, but they are certainly not boring. First of all, can we just talk about how awesome the Essentials by Ellen shape dies are? Not only do you get the shapes for layering, for making windows, for whatever you're doing, but you also get this lovely, delicate little frame that is so fun to incorporate into your designs. So I just can't say enough good things about them. They are a staple in my craft room, and I love them. Okay, now on to making these cards. Now to start with, I'm making some colored cardstock because I never have the colored cardstock I want, and frankly, I think I've just given up on buying it most of the time. So I always have white cardstock on hand, and I'm just going to quickly blend it with some Distress Oxide inks to make the colors I want to use for these cards. After letting it dry for just a minute, I'm going to run it through my die cut machine with one of the Essentials by Ellen Essential Triangles. And then sometimes that little delicate frame doesn't immediately pop out of the die, so sometimes I just toss the die onto my desk and it pops out. Or if it's really in there good, then I just push it out with the little craft pick. Next, I'm just going to use a little bit of glue on the back of those die cut triangles and start placing them on my card front. I didn't really have a plan when I started doing this. As you'll see later, I keep adding to it because I didn't really know what I wanted. But I really don't think you can go wrong. I think having these bright, colorful shapes and having a clean and simple design, you kind of always get something fun at the end. I do think that it could be smart to lay this out ahead of time and figure out which triangles you want to use and which frames. But also, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. So anytime I had stuff hanging off the edge, I just used scissors to trim it. And then I did switch to a finer tip glue pen when I was adhering the frames, but another fun way to adhere these is to run them through a Xyron and turn them into stickers. That makes it really, really easy. Okay, I'm gonna jump ahead in a second because watching me adhere all the triangles is probably super boring, like watching paint dry. So my big tips would be, as long as your first triangle goes down centered and straight, then everything else that you do, you can kind of just eyeball it. You can see when I get to my finished card, it's not perfect, but it is close enough. And I also think even if you don't lay out your design ahead of time and you just wing it, it's still fun and you're still gonna get something good. And here is the finished card. I added a little stamp sentiment with the Essentials by Ellen Totally Random Sayings Volume 1, one of my favorite sets, and a little bit of faux ink splatter with the pen. Okay, now let's talk about our next card. So I'm going to do a little more ink blending again. This time is on a card panel, not a folded card. And this time I'm blending 2 colors together. I actually want a blend. This is not just to make colored cardstock. I'm going to set that blended panel aside to dry, and then I'm going to load up the Essentials by Ellen Mondo Tulip in my MISTI with another cardstock panel, just a plain white one this time. I'm going to stamp the Mondo Tulip in Distress Oxide Faded Jeans ink, and then I'm going to leave the stamp there, grab my dry blended panel, and stamp again with the same stamp and the same ink. Then I'm going to grab one of the essential triangles and die cut that white panel, and then I am going to adhere that over the blended panel, so I've got this great window. I could have also turned this into a shaker card, and I know you're probably expecting that I was going to if you've been around here a little bit, but somehow I resisted. So here's the finished card. Again, I used a sentiment from that Totally Random Sayings Volume 1 and a little bit of faux splatter. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you were inspired to craft, and I hope to see you here again soon. Happy crafting!